Hi, thank you so much for joining me today. And today's layout is for another YouTube hop that I'm participating in. It's for the group Papercrafting YouTubers on Facebook, and each month they have a theme, and this month's theme is Campfires and Kayaks. It's a basic general summer outdoors theme. So it could be anything, it could be summer holidays or anything like that, but I went with the campfire theme, and I've chosen a photo of us around our fire pit back in January. So I chose this stencil from Vicky Bootin because I thought it might emulate the flames from the fire nicely, the round and round circles. So I'm just going in with some distress oxides. I've got antique linen, dried marigold and tattered rose, because I've gone through all my paper scraps and pulled out anything that's pinky peach and golden and orange coloured. So I just wanted to pick out distress oxides that match those colours. I just have a box of scraps when I've finished with a collection, or if I've made a kit for Hey Little Magpie, and use that up. I just put the scraps in that box, and then every so often I'll go through it. It's just a small Western box, not very big, about an inch deep probably, 12 by 12. So it's amazing what you can do with things that you didn't think you would need anymore, really. So just going to glue this photo down on some tissue paper just to add a subtle matte, and cut that out. And then I'm going to start going through the papers that I've got. So mounting this onto the 25mm foam tabs that I've got in Hey Little Magpie from Sticks 2. They're absolutely fabulous for doing this job. And then here are all the papers that I've pulled out. Some nice gold vellum. So a piece of that's going to go on because that's perfect to go with the fire. And then I'll slowly start building. I didn't really have a full-on idea of what I wanted to do. I thought it was going to be a vertical strip, but you'll see it evolves from that. And then I see this piece, and I was going to use the dots on the reverse, but then I saw these words, and one of them says "stay chill," and I think that'd be a really nice phrase to add to the layout. So just trimming that down, and I just put it there because I don't quite know where it's going to go yet. So just checking the reverse of this paper to see if I want to use any of the other phrases before cutting a strip of that. And I love the colours. I think the colours that I've chosen work really well with this photo. Amelia's got her pink hoodie on, and that's what you can see the most from the light from the fire. So as you see, even really small scraps work perfectly in a layout like this. So just building. I'll leave you to watch me do my process. And if you've watched any of my videos before, you'll know I love to add a tab at the top or around there of my photo to add the date, and this one's no exception. So I chose that pink paper, and in fact you might have noticed from the scrap that I've actually used this before for a tab. I'm not sure whether it was this side or the reverse, which is a red. So just keep building and layering here and checking that I'm happy with everything. And as you can see, I've started to work out the sides now as well, so it does end up as more of a cross, this layout. And this is where I start to get frustrated with myself that I've not glued things down, because every time I try and tuck something in, everything else moves. If you watched me before, you'll see that this is quite often the case. And slowly I get to the point where I realise I really do need to start sticking things down. So I still don't quite know what I'm going to do for the title on this layout. I pulled out this Amelia Creates cut file from Hey Little Magpie that just says family, and I quite like the look of how that looks there. So I'm just having a think about what I'm going to do to make it stand out. Pulling out a few more golden bits to add to the bottom there, and you'll see I just use tiny little bits just to add that colour in to all of the points of the cross. And this is just a branding strip from the bottom of one of the papers that I kept in my scrap box. That looks quite nice as well. And here we go. I realised I really do need to start gluing. So just pulling the bits off that are easy to glue down and slowly building it all up. And because it's very straight lines, I'll come in now with my T-ruler just to check that everything's straight and also central before I carry on. So just checking that it's straight there vertically, and then I'll go in on the horizontal to check that the photo is in the middle of the page. I know that the centre of the photo needs to be more or less 15.5 centimetres, which it was. So now just using my ruler for the placement and sticking that down, and I'll carry on. So while I'm sticking everything down, I'm using that time to have a think about what to do about the title, and I've decided I definitely want to use that family cut file from Amelia Creates, and I'm going to use my oxide inks again to colour that in. So I'll grab a scrap piece of paper and I'll start off with the, in fact I go in with fossilised amber because it's a little bit darker than the antique linen, to do yellow at the top, and then I'll do dried marigold at the bottom. And I'm really happy with how that looks. I think the colours are just perfect. So I want to go in with my spray bottle and oxidise the inks, just because it makes them bloom and brings out all the different colours in the ink. So I grab my spray bottle and I think I'm just spraying fairly gently, but in fact I saturate the whole thing. So that didn't work at all. So I lift it up and put it on some tissue paper to dry, some paper towel to dry a little bit while I work out what else to do. And you will have seen me before with the black card, because I was just toying with the idea of mounting it on black card just to bring a bit more of that black from the photo into the layout, but that doesn't work in the end. So just adding a few more bits. I want to add a little tag there on the right hand side, so just creating a tag with a strip of this orange paper. Working out which way I want the arrows to go, and then I'll punch a hole in the top, and that will work as a great journaling spot, because there's not too much to say about this photo, but I just want to say about what we'd done that day and why we were having it. So bringing that orange again into the left hand side, because I feel like that side's a little bit too pink and it doesn't have any of the gold or orange in it, so that works nicely. Glue that down. Trying to keep tidy as I work. It's not something that I'm particularly good at, but trying to get better. And now I'm putting the photo down because it keeps moving and it's annoying. And I know that it's got to go in that position. So So bob it down and then I'll check with my T-ruler that I'm happy. And then adding some thread to that tag, which I'll pull over the edge of the page just to balance out that Stay Chill title on the left hand side runs almost to the edge of the page, and this cluster is a little bit shorter, so I just want to have something to visually bring the eye to the edge of that side of the page. Just separating those threads. Glue that down. And then taking them around the back, as I say. So now just positioning that cut file in place now that it's dry, and then using my Distress Oxides to stamp the date to put on that top tab. And you'll see I've gone in with two different colours. I quite like this look of a messy date, and just trimming everything right down so that it fits neatly onto that tag. And once I've glued that title down, I realised that it's not got enough depth, and you know I looked at the black card to mat it on before, which I thought would be too dark. I decided just to come in with my black pen and add dots all the way around all of it, and it just brings the black into the bottom of that layout, and I was really happy with how that looked. So sometimes a tiny bit of doodling can make such a difference. And now I'm going to add some journaling onto that tag. So I'm just cutting a piece of scrap white card to add to it so that I can write the journaling on and then stick it down. So just using my nail to mark the edge. And it just says a fire pit was the perfect end to a lovely day out at Lyme Park. And when I layer it down, I'm not happy with the stark whiteness of it against the rest of the layout because we've got all the inking. So I'll go in with my ink dauber, and you'll see it smudges the words slightly because it's a wet ink that I've been using. But in fact, that adds to the feel of the fire pit. So I'm not too worried because you can still read it clearly, and I really think that looks quite nice. So I'll glue that down. And now I'm just going to check all the other embellishments that I've pulled out from my stash to see what else I can add, and I just slowly filled up a few bits and pieces just to add interest to the layout, all in the same colours, these peachy pinks, some of the coppers which go nicely with the gold, and the mustard yellows. And I love these puffy buttons, but I can't bear to have a button without some thread in it, so you'll see me, I'm going to add a little bit of this yellow thread through the button. And just with a sharp needle it's easy to pierce the puffy sticker and add the stitching. So do it on this one, and then I find a square one that I'll do it on as well. Sticker just covers up where I moved that square button from before, because I think that the glue that was the residual glue that was left on the paper will age and look odd if I don't cover it up. So this is part of the layout I really enjoy, just going through all my bits and pieces and adding things to really add texture. And it was such a happy day, so that goes really nicely down there. Just choosing exactly where it needs to be positioned. That's much better. And then again, these Bow Bunny puffy stickers, they seem to be appearing on almost every layout at the moment, and they keep going and going. Just looking to see what I can add, and I choose these tiny little triangles to make almost a chevron. So because I do one on one side, I have to add it to the other, and you'll see I put it in one place but I'm not happy with it, so I'll move it down. And I'm just going to have a look at the layout and check that I'm happy with the positioning of everything, which I am, and then another quick look through what else I've got here to add. And I find these pink paisy fancy free puffy stickers that I've had for a good while in my stash, and it's nice to be using things up. So just a tab that says Wonderful Day, which matches in nicely with the colour theme. And now I'm going to add some bits of thread. I think that these will emulate the fire really nicely. So one little nest in the top right hand corner, and then another one, sorry, top left hand corner, and then another one in the bottom right to mirror it. I'm just trying to tease it into place so that I'm happy with exactly where those threads are, and I use the point of my scissors to do that as well. And now just gluing this bottom piece in place. And while I'm looking at that, trying to think if there's anything else I want to do, and I really want to add some crosses in the thread just to bring it into the left hand strip and the right hand strip of paper, so that's what I'll do now. I'm finally just going to go in with some ink splatters, just using the Distress Oxides that I used before, the antique linen first, and just shielding the photo. And I want these to stay fairly close to the edges of the photo, just in those 4 white corners that we've got there. Adding a few with the paintbrush and then flicking some more. So you can see, just keeping it fairly tight to that photo. And then once I've done that one, we'll go in with the fossilised amber, which is a deeper yellow, and it goes really nicely with the colours on the fire. And once that's done, that's it. Thank you so much for joining me. Please do check the description box to see who else is joining in on this YouTube hop. There are some fabulous, talented people there, and it's great to support them and watch their videos if you feel that way inclined. And I hope to see you again soon. Thank you so much. Bye.